Welcome to Future Ready Live, where we talk about topics that will help CPAs, CGMAs, and their organizations prepare for change and transformation. I'm your host, Tom Hood, the EVP of Business Engagement and Growth at the AICPA CIMA, the largest global body of professional certified accountants in the world. Today, we're going to be talking about the challenges and opportunities facing our members and CPAs in Canada alike. From technological advancements to evolving consumer priorities and geopolitical tensions, global trends are reshaping the way we do business. And joining me is Pamela Steer, the President and CEO of Chartered Professional Accountants of Canada. Under Pamela's leadership, CPA Canada represents, champions, and supports Canadian CPAs at the national and international levels. Over the course of her career, Pamela has worked in the technology and financial services industries, including publicly traded, private, and regulated entities in Canada and abroad. In 2019, she was honored as Canada's CFO of the Year and is a dedicated community leader serving on a number of boards and councils. She's passionate about lasting leadership transformation and sustainability. She's also active and a founding member of the advisory board for the Institute for Sustainable Finance and helped found the Canadian chapter of the Accounting for Sustainability CFO Leadership Network. Pamela, say hello.
Hello, everybody, and hello, Tom. It's great to see you again.
It's same here. It's awesome to have you back. Well, now we're on a different show. So today we're going to be talking about your major conference in Calgary called The One, where I had the pleasure of keynoting, and I saw a lot about Gen AI, transformation, and leadership. Tell our audience more about this conference and what were your big takeaways?
Well, thanks, Tom. So the One is our annual national conference. So it's our big splash at CPA Canada for sure. And that's our opportunity to really bring all the CPAs in Canada and from other nations as well, such as yourself, to connect with their peers across industries, different types of CPAs where they practice, regions and levels of experience. And you know, the reality is, of course, that we're not just CPAs in our own little corners of the world or our provinces up here in Canada, but we're all part of a very integrated, interconnected global profession, and we need to support each other as we grow. So this year's theme for our conference, as I know you do in your conferences, we have themes. It was Insight to Impact. And each subject and session really touched on all the change that is happening that is just something we can't avoid or afford to ignore. And in fact, as you and I both agree, I know, we need to embrace it. And so it's really almost impossible to talk about the future of our profession without touching on and really diving into, in fact, artificial intelligence, cloud computing, data analytics, digitalization, and the ramifications of climate change and other social and environment challenges as well, because everything is getting, I would say, more extreme. And as we like to say, it's going faster, even faster every day. So I think that is really important. And talking about those global challenges, they're not local, they are truly global, and how we just really have to work together. We've got to adapt, we've got to mitigate risk, and really embrace those opportunities that help drive our profession and really our economies ahead in the future. And that's why I really think the future for our profession today, I often say, I wish I was going through again, because I think the opportunities now for the CPA profession, Canada, the US, globally, has never been more exciting and never had more opportunities to move and grow in a shifting career that will be very rich, can be very rewarding, can be financially rewarding as well, which is important, let's face it. And so there's all these opportunities, and I'm really excited about how our professions can really embrace it and how we can work together, certainly Canada and the US, as close neighbors and relatives, if you will, and how we work together in the future.
I love that you're the notion of you'd be more excited to come back and do it now. I feel the same way. There's so many cool things that we never could do back in the day when we were in those CFO roles that are now in front of us, right? And one of our
Totally.
CFOs puts it, we would be getting rid of the soul crushing work that we sometimes have to do in the basic corporate accounting function. So let's talk about my session that I did while you were there. You introduced it. You were on stage with me, riding the waves of transformation, where we talk about these big waves of change and this idea of entering the fifth industrial revolution. As Gartner put it, we have a chance to be in the driver's seat as CFOs. So we did some polling on the top issues and top skills, and then we used ChatGPT to analyze it and give us a response of what it meant. And here's what it says. I'm going to have you react to this. So implications for the CFO's evolving role. Insights from these polls reinforce the CFO's expanding role in steering the organization toward the future. This includes the following leadership imperatives, 3 of them. Championing AI and data-driven decision-making. By guiding the integration of AI, CFOs can push beyond traditional finance metrics to provide real-time, forward-looking insights that influence the enterprise-wide strategic decisions. Number 2 is building a future-ready workforce. Developing a workforce with a balance of finance, technology, and analytical skills will be central. CFOs can drive initiatives around continuous learning and upskilling to ensure teams are prepared to work alongside AI and handle complex data environments. And then finally, embedding governance and ethics in AI. Responsible AI adoption is critical, and CFOs play a unique role in overseeing governance frameworks, risk management practices. As trusted stewards, CFOs must champion ethical and transparent AI applications across finance. I mean, this captures everything we've been saying about the evolving role of the CFO. And I think, so what's your reaction to that from your members? I think it was like 600 of them that responded.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a really great session, Tom. It was fantastic. We even took a selfie together on the stage. That was a lasting moment for me. I agree with all of those insights. And in fact, the first one, though, that you talk about, Chat GPT summarized, that championing, I think that the CFO can really help embrace that, actually find those use cases, because we're all at the beginning of this and we're trying things and checking things out, but really finding where we can apply that knowledge and really make the best use of it. And I want to see us beyond insights. I want us to see to get to that predictability, that predictiveness, and that foresight that I think a really great CFO brings to bear in an organization. And then that future ready workforce, those opportunities to get rid of what you so nicely described as soul crushing work, to move forward and really utilize technology to take as much out of that as possible and add those more value added skills. And then, of course, where do CFOs, that trusted relationship? So, we're not trying to restrict the bounty that we're going to get out of AI, but we want to make sure that it's got the right guardrails, that there's good oversight, that we really are looking at that governance layer to make sure that we know what it's doing and how it's doing it, and in fact how it's learning. Is it free from bias? Is it telling us the right things? And CFOs have those really critical skills that are going to help us there.
And then I know that you guys were working on an AI project. Tell me about that. Are you doing some stuff with AI up in there in
We're
CPA Canada?
Yeah, actually, I think it's so important, and I know you're doing this as well. But you gotta walk the talk. So we talk to the profession about how wonderful it is and how much we're doing together. But we're also doing a number of things too. I'd just like to highlight. One is with respect to tax. CPA Canada has just partnered with a tax specialty AI company to offer insights to start to help our tax people in the profession really get the most insights out of what AI can offer for tax, which has become, I know in your jurisdiction as well as ours, incredibly overly complex and making sure that you comply with all the rules and laws, and how do you best move forward. So that's really exciting for us. The second area that I think is phenomenal is with respect to education and what we can offer our prospective CPAs in the future in terms of providing those bespoke learning journeys that will help CPAs move forward in the future and become, great candidates, and then continue on with their learning to help them adapt to these skills. So things like an avatar that will take them on their journey, that will check them and say, wait a minute, you don't have exactly the competencies you need. Let's go back and review some of this material so you really have it well cemented before you move forward into those things. So those are just two examples, but we have a few others that we're looking into internally at CPA Canada that we then can sort of demonstrate the bruises that we get from adapting and learning ourselves from utilization of AI technology to moving forward and helping our population of CPAs across the country, and hopefully working together as we do, Tom, with AICPA, and moving forward with our experiences and saying, not only are we telling you about this, but we're walking the walk as well, and we're learning as we're going too.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because we like to say we're all walking the same journey together. So you're right, Pam. We're kind of side by side trying to figure all this out. And by the way, collaboration between us and between other great bodies is a way we continue to get even better. So it's an exciting time. And then you and I joined Lee White, the president of IFAC, to talk about bridging the trust gap, the vital role of CPAs in global AI governance on your LinkedIn Live. So what were your insights about that? Let's bring that into this conversation. What were those big insights from that, and what we've done together to already partner in some of this AI revolution?
Absolutely. Well, of course, you and I, not you and I specifically, but AICPA and CPA Canada are working together on a three-part series of white papers. The third one is about to come out. The other two have been really, really well received. And then bringing our global colleague, Lee White from IFAC, into the conversation to talk about that important role that accountants play, and that trust environment and that trusted role that we have. And again, reinforcing that it's not just in Canada, it's not just in the US, it's not the two of us together, though we are near neighbors and work very closely together, like on this series of papers, but it's global. And how do we work best together? Because we're only going to be as strong as our weakest link when our organizations work together, and we work with our different corporations, many of whom, like thousands and thousands of whom, are global multinational organizations. And how is that going to work? So the foundational concepts that we work on together, I think, are so important for our organization. So the first report, of course, addresses the impacts of AI on the audit profession. Very important. It's going to be such a great tool, or a number of tools really, to help improve audit and what it can find and how quickly it can be done, efficiency, effectiveness, etc. And then the second publication that, of course, we just released last month together, best practices for effective governance and risk management. I touched on that earlier, as did you. Very, very important. And the opportunities. I think, often some of our colleagues, must be confessed, focus on that risk side and the risk of these tools and new technologies to the profession. There are so many opportunities that are going to be available to all of us. And I know you and I are big proponents of that. So I'm hopeful that these publications are going to be very effective in helping our colleagues who may be a little more risk averse embrace these new technologies and what they have to offer. And then I'm really looking forward to part 3, which is going to highlight the role of assurance. And I know that's coming really, really quickly. And I know we've both got those available for download. So that conversation with Lee that brings in the global aspect and how we work with our global colleagues is just so important to us, I think.
Yeah, and it gives you confidence, I think, when you've got partners like that are all working together to share that knowledge. And then, I mean, we're using that one right now in the governance for our own governance. So it's a wonderful resource for everyone from that standpoint. So how about a little bit more, just what are some of the other research and where can they get it from you? And then we'll begin to wrap it up.
All right. Holy cow, this time goes by so quickly, doesn't it? So we're working very closely at national and international tables with organizations like you, IFAC, and some of our other international colleagues at other professional accounting organizations. We have over 200 specialized publications and resources currently about voluntary and emerging guidelines, because this is new for everyone, let's face it. We are working closely with the government in Canada as well, because they're trying to keep up. And of course, regulation always is behind what the market would like to see. And so we've acted with the government in creating a lot of those digital work that we're working on together. And so I'm really excited about what we have to offer in terms of that work that we continue to do together. So an example, we have recently provided quite a bit of extensive feedback, and we've been very involved in the Canadian government's Digital Charter Implementation Act, which is looking to modernize Canadian privacy law, which of course is very important and goes alongside with AI, what's happening to your data. And then on sustainability, which I think, the AI work is going to be very, very closely aligned with where do you get the data for a lot of that work that underlies those sustainability metrics, et cetera, and those scenarios. And the science is all data. I think that's going to be really important. And as a designated capacity building partner with the International Sustainability Board, or International Sustainability Standards Board, so many long names. We are really excited to be a part of the IFRS Knowledge Hub. So you can look there for a lot of different reports on the application of ISSB standards. And we are also looking at carbon credit markets, and just recently partnered with IFAC, in fact, to publish something on carbon credit markets. And again, data is going to be so critical for all of that. So I'm really excited about what we have to offer. So you can look at cpacanada.ca on our website. You can look at IFAC on their website. Of course, everybody knows where to find you at AICPA. And then the IFRS Knowledge Capacity Building Hub for ISSB. There's lots and lots of resources and information there. So we're happy to be involved in so many great projects and programs.
Wow, you just gave us about a lifetime worth of literature to catch
I'm
up
behind
with.
on my reading too, so there's lots there.
You have to use AI to summarize it all, right? That's probably the way to do it.
Exactly.
But that just shows how big and vast this whole and they're interconnected, aren't they? I mean, this, as you said, that sustainability, AI, data, privacy, all of that is like kind of linked.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's pretty wild. All right, how about, so closing thoughts? What else could you want to tell our audience before we leave? And this did go by really fast.
It sure did. I would go back to what I said at the beginning, and what we were talking about in terms of the conference, et cetera. I think it is such an important and an exciting time to become a CPA and be part of our great profession. It's not just, in Canada's provinces, it's not just in your states, it's all of us together acting in a very integrated and global profession that you can't find elsewhere. I mean, you think about lawyers, you got to re-qualify in every state or province, similar for doctors, etc. And really in accounting, the world is your oyster, truly. It is quite frictionless compared to other professions. It is needed everywhere. Money and data are the flows that keep the world economies moving. And I'm just so excited about what opportunities there are in store for our young people, for career changers. There's a real growing group and population of career changers who are moving in with some great experience from their past specialty areas and careers that they can bring to bear in our wonderful accounting profession. And I think it all comes home to roost for us. And I think accountants are going to save the world. How about you, Tom?
I hear you. So, that you just hit like all the high points. I mean, I think, we're looking at a severe talent shortage down here in the States. Although I've heard it's pretty much global as the aging, especially in the more mature economies, right? Where you have an aging population and the young people haven't had as many kids as fast to replace us. So that's a big piece of it. And to your point, being able to get career changers, we're looking at even back to work retired folks that need more
Yep.
money, and now they can come in and get into this profession. It is just full of opportunities, and it's always in demand, which is the kind of cool thing about it. So I want to thank you again. It's always great to hang out with you, and it is great to recap the last couple things we've done together. This is Pamela Steer, the CEO of CPA Canada, and you can get her on LinkedIn at her LinkedIn profile, or go to CPA Canada's website, cpacanada.ca. And I think you're also on X, aren't you? Let's see.
I am. Yeah. Yeah. I don't use it as much, but LinkedIn for sure is a
Okay,
main one.
so we'll
Yeah.
do LinkedIn or the website there. And I want to thank you again for joining me today, Pamela. And I want all my audience, don't miss other Future Ready Live sessions back here on LinkedIn, the first and third Tuesday of each month at noon Eastern. We'll see you then. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Tom.